Hello, beautiful souls of love and light. This is Lady Nanari, Princess of the Sea, coming to you with a new video. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, and I felt compelled to do this video because it's something that is occurring in my own life, in the lives of many who I mentor, and a lot of you who will be seeing this video who are struggling with relationships and unions, whether it is a divine partnership, a twin soul union, a near twin, a soulmate, what have you, the struggle that's going on right now. And as we are in between right now, the solar eclipse that we just had and the full moon lunar eclipse that is coming, there's a lot of energy that's going on around relationships, and I believe Mercury may be in retro and some other planets in retro, and so it's about kind of backtracking and taking time to go within and to have a look at different things. And so one of the things that's coming up as a main theme in my own life, as well as the lives of those who I mentor, and many of you again who will be seeing this video, is about relationships. So what I want to share with you is the balance between relationship and union and what that actually means, and to share some other wisdom related to that. So in the realm of relationship, what I want to start out with is what we have as extremisms. From the time we were really small, wee baby, we are completely dependent. Now, some of you may know about all this because I've done this in channels before. I've spoken about this in many videos. I've been talking about this, living it and being it for many, many years now. But in this specific way, in this video, I have been free from doing. So this is why this is calling to do so now. So from the time you're a wee baby, you are dependent completely on whoever your caregivers are, whether those are your parents, surrogate parents, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, whatever. You are dependent solely on that essence of parental figure for nurturing, for essence. And then as we get older, as we learn to walk, and as we get older and get on in years, even going into the teen years and into adulthood, we go to the other extremism. So we've got dependency over here, which is a healthy dependency depending upon the relationship you have with those caregivers. However, it's still a earthly dependency because you cannot, feed yourself at first. You cannot care for yourself, in the ways that we know now as adults. So then we come to the other side, which is independence. Okay, we break free from that dependent environment and we seek to be autonomous. And this too is a beautiful way of learning here on this earth, of soul remembering who we are from a soul perspective, as we say. From an earthly perspective, we call it life lessons, that we're here to learn. From the soul perspective, it's about soul rememberings to be remembered. And so this is why we're free from having anything to learn here on this earth necessarily. We have everything within us already as a soul, and we just come here to remember it, because we are a spiritual, multi-dimensional, spiritual, soulful being having a human experience, and then within having that human experience, we rest, remember, embrace, and soulfully treasure the soul that we are. Okay, so it's a full circle. Yeah. So we have dependence, and then we have independence. And then what is the middle path, which is what Buddha taught us, what enlightenment is, which is balance, wholeness, integration. I utilize balance, wholeness, and integration because they really mean the same thing from the soul essence. And so that middle path that Buddha taught us, he went through the extremisms of having everything, brought to him, and he was lavished with servants and all of that. And then he went to the opposite extreme of being an ascetic, and nearly starved himself to death. And when he came into enlightenment, the middle way of balance, wholeness, integration, is that path of what is known as interconnectedness. or interdependence. We often say, I've written interdependence in my channels before, and also talked about interconnection. Okay, so it's everything is connected, everything is one. Yeah, we are one with everything and everyone, and there is free from being any separation between us and another. So this is the realm of what we went through in our cycle. We went through dependence and independence, and our middle path is to be interconnection or interdependence, utilizing those words interchangeably. And this is where we're meant to be able to come to in real relationships, R-E-A-L, real relationships of real love, because this is what real love is. So utilizing this same model of extremisms, one and the other, this is what happens in our relationships. Now this is with all types of relationships. I'm going to be focusing on intimate relationships, as in partnerships and twin soul, near twin, soulmate, and intimate partner relationship in that way. But this can apply to any and all relationships, because this dynamic goes back and forth. It's push and pull until you come into that center, that balance, that wholeness, that integration of the middle path, the enlightenment of interconnection. So here's what happens. We get into a relationship, R-E-L, relationship, not a real, R-E-A-L, but a R-E-L relationship with someone. And it's about needs being met. It's about, I'm going to meet your needs, you're going to meet my needs, and if you don't meet my needs and I don't meet your needs, we battle, we fight, we want, and then we separate. Yeah, there's separation. Relationship in that respect is two separate beings attempting to connect or relate to one another. You see, it's an attempting to connect. Okay, it's an attempt to be together, but we're still two separate beings. All right, so that's relationship. Union, being in that place of interconnectedness, is two whole, perfect, and complete beings coming together in union as one, where one does not know where the other begins and the other ends. It's not that you lose your sense of self, and this is the fear that often happens. You're dependent and you have codependent and dependent relationships, and then you go, I gotta break free out of that and I gotta be independent. And then you get so independent that you forget about interconnectedness, interdependence. So one only needs to look at nature to understand interconnection and interrelating. In that sense, inter-arness, as Thich Nhat Hanh often calls it. So if you look at the sun is shining right now. It's quite warm here today, and the sun is bathing its light on the trees, on the earth, on us, on everything that exists. And in turn, we give back to the sun. There isn't an, oh, I'll do this for you and you do this for me. It's not a contractual thing. It just is. There's an inter-arness, an inter-isness about it. The sun is just shining because the sun is just shining. The sun isn't shining like, oh, I'm going to shine with you and I'm making a contract with you to do that. And you're going to take care of me because I did that. No. And this is what our relationships are usually about. In interconnectedness, we are simply being who we are, and then we join together, right? It's the collapse of two separate beings. It's the collapse of relating and attempting to be autonomous and attempting to be dependent or codependent. It's a coming together to share in that oneness. So on the twin soul path, what happens is, and in specific union relationships or divine partnerships and whatnot, there tends to be this same push and pull. Twin souls will come together, like I came together with my twin soul in this place of this interconnectedness. And what happened is that he projected onto me, thinking that I was coming together with him because I wanted my needs met, and that I thought he was sexy and all of this. And he did not understand, and still to this day, 10.5 years later, does not understand this interconnectedness. And this is free from being, a judgment or an attacking on my part of him. This is just simply where he's at. He's in the back and forthness of the extremisms, and I've come into balance, wholeness, and integration. I was there 10.5 years ago, and after the initial, spark. I mean, originally I was in that independence when we first met, and I was like, oh, I'm being the love and light. I don't want a relationship, no way, and I didn't want a relationship. I wanted a real relationship, REAL, a union. And so I came from that place of, the collapsing of two separate beings. And he saw something else because of the unhealedness within him, and because he was in that extremism back and forth. Yet, at the same moment, and I would like to share this with you, he knows this. This was a letter that he wrote to his daughter 10 years ago. So his daughter at that point 10 years ago was living together with the man who she's now married to. And he wrote me this letter in August of 2008, and he said, my daughter asked me if she should marry the guy she's living with. And so here's the copy and paste. This is what he wrote to her. Love is not, in capital letters, a chemical connection because they are a hunk, or meet the requirements of what society and the lifestyle's needs send messages to the brain that this person is to be desired by me. Love is not the connection energetically of wanting to hang out and have sex with this person. Nor is love an emotional release based on pheromones produced by another. That is like an addiction. Love is not the sexy attractants that trigger an emotional connection. Relationships are complex and largely based on triggers based deeply within our being. These triggers are governed by sexuality, a need for security and home, and relating on a deeper level. Yet none of this is love. Say not, I love you, when you are embracing such a person. Rather, in total honesty, say, you are meeting the desires of my being in this moment. Love is far greater. Love is deeper than the sacrifice of any mother protecting her child. Love is deeper than one hanging on the cross for the remote chance another may understand love through it. Love is deeper than the total sacrifices offered. Love is witnessing the very master artist expressing all within time and space, proclaiming what real love is. If a man and a woman are to join in the sacredness of why she is the melody and he the harmony of this song, only then shall real love be exchanged. The master artist has given its all for such lovers to entwine. Think it not strange why Song of the Troubadour has been born. Song of the Troubadour is the book that he channeled through him in 2007, October. My role is not to hang on a cross, yet if I am to honestly pray that thy will be done, is it not fair that I also go on such journeys of the heart? If you are to marry, let it be because such master artist has given the song of your heart to be the perfect harmony of what his being proclaims. If it doesn't, set sail, regardless of seas or challenges. Dad. So this was the letter that he wrote to his daughter at the time, and interestingly enough, it is very indicative of exactly where I resonate, and is very, very true. And he knows this within his being as well. So when we are in union, we are, and it's regardless of whether it's twin soul union, near twin, a divine partner, a soulmate, whatever you choose to be, it is the coming together of two whole, perfect, and complete beings, fully integrated and married to Source, okay, devoted to Source, and then coming to share their completeness together in that union. the collapse of two separate beings relating into oneness, and beyond oneness into what Source is itself. So many of you have seen my ring that I have on my finger. This is my marriage to Source. Okay, I had a different ring about a year ago, and it lost one of its stones, and I came across this one around my birthday last year and was given some birthday money, and was instructed to specifically buy something that resonated with my heart, and that was just for me, because so much of what I'm given in love offering donations for sessions and whatever goes to continue to help all of you. And so I came upon this ring, and it is a Herkimer diamond with other little Herkimer diamonds around, and it's white gold setting. And it is my marriage to Source. And the other ring that I had before, which I had for many years, was also the same. So I am married to Source. And those of you who know me personally, as well as those of you who have had sessions with me, know that my life is dedicated to Source and to being Source through me as me. And my life's work, the channels, everything that I do, that I live in, I be myself and then put out in channels and videos and everything else is in this same realm. And so for me, I have let go of my twin soul, because while it's absolutely beautiful to go from codependent relationships to independent relationships, he has at this point in this place where he thinks that, oh, just being one with Source is, and us being together oceans apart and thousands of kilometers and miles apart, him in one country and me in another, is the solution, when it's actually both and. When you come in, it's both and all. When you come into interdependence or interconnection, that balance point of integration, wholeness, and completeness and balance, it is both and all. So it's both and all. So in other words, you are physically together, and you're also married to Source at the same time, and you're together soulfully. Okay? Now there are many beings on this planet, twin souls, soulmates, near twins, and whatnot, who represent this. Just a few that come to mind: Deva, Pramal, and Natan. You may know them. They are very well known in the spiritual community for their mantras and beautiful singing and the gifts that they give. They live their life together as husband and wife. And it's not a paper marriage of, oh, I'm going to meet your needs, you're going to meet my needs kind of thing. It is a coming together in union, a collapse of relationship into real love or real relationship, in which they are both devoted to Source, married to Source, and married to each other, and bringing their gifts out to the world. And so it's absolutely beautiful. Neil Donald Walsh and his wife M is another one. Some of you may know him and his work. Jim Self and his wife as well. There's loads and loads of these people, famous people and not so famous people. John Lennon and Yoko Ono were, twin souls, and John Lennon still continues on the other side to help Yoko in her path and their soul mission and purpose together. So when you're coming together in that union, that is where I resonate. That is where interconnectedness is, where you're both shining your light and uplifting one another. Okay, and you are then uplifting the world as well, and you have a mission and a purpose together. Now specifically twin souls have this, and we're the ones who paved the way for this. Unfortunately, my twin soul is still stuck in that realm of being married to Source, and that's it. And that's absolutely wonderful, and I understand it, because that's where I was. Originally 10.5 years ago, when he and I first connected, I was in that place, but through Song of the Troubadour that he wrote, and then he asked me to write the companion book to it, with using Song of the Troubadour as the backdrop, to create the Song of the Princess. What I did was, that book, and that is the combination of union. It is the amalgamation, the integration of actual union. And through that first year that we were together, I came into that place and that resonance, and have been that way for the last 9.5 years. He, however, chooses the other path, and it's a wonderful path. I've seen many people who are doing this now. Many people who go on the twin soul path come into their twin soul, and either one or both twin souls are unable to be together because there are things that are being healed and worked on and amalgamated and whatnot through the melding of the emotional body and the mental body. And so what happens is one twin soul usually becomes ready before the other, and then they see that, oh, my twin soul isn't coming, so one of two things happen. They either wait around for them, which the whole point is not about waiting around. It's about shining and being your light and being your purpose with or without your twin soul. I wrote a channel about that the other day, and I'll include some links here in this video to encapsulate what I'm saying to you here of channels that I've done over many years and things of that nature. But that said, what happens is either you wait around for your twin soul, which is not self-love, or you come into this self-love and you go all the way into this independence again, and you think what my twin soul thinks right now, which is, oh, I'm just going to be married to Source. Well, when you're like that, you're in extremism, and if we were to be that way, then we could just go back home to Source. If all we were to do is to come here to this earth and be married to Source or be one with Source and not be connected in union with someone and shining that light of who we are in completeness together, we could go back home and do that with Source. There would be no reason for us to come here to this earth. The reason that we come here to this earth, and my twin soul intuitively knows this because he did a video several years ago on some marmots that he was feeding, and I helped him to get that video out, and it has like 30,000 views on it or something ridiculous like that on Facebook. And the reason is because so many people resonated with that. And so deep in his soul, he knows, and if he were fully living his soul, he would know that it's about being physical together and being soulfully together. It's both and all, and that's why we come here to this earth. And sadly, just recently, a young girl who actually used to live there at my twin soul Chris's place, as she was healing and integrating from a traumatic brain injury that she had several years ago. She's just recently come into her boyfriend, who she may or may not know is actually her twin soul. And so I had said something to my twin soul when we were texting each other just yesterday about this. And I asked him, I said, do you feel then that, it is, because he had said to me in a text that, pardon me, my glasses, I was going to read something to you in just a moment. So he had said to me when I had said, have you had a change of heart about coming here to physically see me and be with me? And he had said in a text message responding, turn to Source and not to another. So he equates real relationship and union as just being married to Source, and that if I turn to him or he turns to me, that this is not holy. And again, this is that extremism of being on the other side, right? And thinking that Source is the only answer. Source is our source. Another is not our source. No thing or person is our source. Our source is within. However, it is then coming together, as I said, in that knowing, yeah, just as the other couples that I've shared with you. And so I wrote to him and I said, did he feel that this young girl who had been staying with him, who is now living with her boyfriend, her twin soul, if she is somehow reaching for another or turning to another instead of turning to Source? And what I was going to read to you is what he responded in text, which was, they are early 20-year-olds doing what that attraction is about at that age. And that's very sad. And I wrote to him back and I said, oh, I suppose then you would say that about your own daughter. Never mind that letter I read to you that, he actually wrote to his daughter acknowledging union in that way, that he knew that. And he knows that in his soul. And so this young lassie and her beautiful boyfriend, is in union. You know, it's not about relationship of seeking of needs and whatnot. And it's very sad that he sees that, and sees that, and potentially could see that with his daughter, and even his own son. His son is living with a girl. They're technically legally married because in Canada, at home in Canada, it's not that way here home in Scotland, but in Canada, if you live with someone, I believe it's 6 months, you're considered common law married. And so they are married. They've been together for, I don't know, 10, 12 years now, maybe longer, and they have 2 children. So even his son, it would be like he's saying that about his son. And again, I'm not sharing any of this with you, to attack him or somehow out him. I'm sharing it with you as a context to show you the beauty of what union really is, and what interconnectedness really is. And so this is the place that I resonate with, and so I am at a place in my life where I've let go of my twin soul and would rather be alone physically. I'm never alone, because alone is simply all one, and I am all one and in union with Source, always, in all ways. And from a soulful perspective, I'm in union with all of you and connected with you and interconnected with all of you. But physically, in terms of a real relationship, REAL, or union, I would rather wait to be able to come into vibrational frequency with a man who is in the same vibrational frequency as me and who is into interconnection. And I know there are very few on this planet who are awakened to that, and this is why I'm doing this video, so as to help you on the path, so that you can come into this interconnectedness, because this is what the new earth is about. It's no more about the lone wolf being connected with Source in extremism, and Buddha realized that, he lived that life, and then when he came into enlightenment and balance, he knew that it was about that. Yeshua, or Jesus, same thing. His twin soul, Mary Magdalene, they were in union. A lot of that has been erased from the Bible, lost books, particularly because of the control that has been on this planet. And people like Greg Braden and others who have found the lost books of the Bible speak about this. How women were more the gifts of seers and more in their divine power of sharing channels from Source, from God, from Spirit, the Master Artist as well, and also of the union of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, and Krishna and Radha as well. There are many, many, many references to this type of union, and it is ancient wisdom. So this is what the new earth is about. It's about coming back into that resonance, rather than extremism of having codependent relationships or being so independent on the other side. It's about interconnection, inter-awareness, union. And so with that, may you be in union with all your relationships, intimate connections and otherwise. And I bless you in pure love. Namaste. Espada, and I love you. And please know that I'm always here for you. I provide twin soul mentoring sessions, as a whole soul channeled reading sessions, where I'm accessing the Akasha, the Akashic records, and loads of other sessions you can see on the website. And please, connect with me if you feel so called to, and know that I'm always here for you. I love you.
To